Yo, yo, YouTube! It is Wednesday, and remember that. It is the 8th of November. I've had a pretty good day today. Not finished yet, but I've made my target and some, and I'll tell you about how it's gone. It's been a good day. Yeah. It's been a sort of day that I like to have in this job. So I had a job booked in this morning, but that was taking an item from Lincoln to Bradford, and I had to go and collect that from 9 o'clock in the morning. But the delivery could have been really any point today or tomorrow, and the job allowed me to co-load if I could find something. So I got myself to the pickup place on time, handballed the item onto my van, and then had a look at jobs that were around. This would have been about 9:15, the time I was ready to look for jobs. And there was a job that was on last night, that I bid on last night, that was still there, which was a single pallet. And I can't remember if I said this to you yesterday, but I rang this person and I offered to do the job for them this morning, but they said that they wanted a cheaper price than what I bid, and that they were thinking they might go on the pallet network. So I had bid £100 originally for, I think it was about 90 miles, and so I changed my bid last night to £85, just on the off chance that that would be low enough for them, but I didn't think it would be. But that was always in the back of my mind, would I be able to get that as a co-load? Because they said in the notes for that one that co-loading would be fine for that pallet. It was going in a slightly different direction. It was going from Lincoln to Wednesbury, which is obviously not towards Barnsley. Sorry, Bradford, sorry. But because the Bradford job had flexibility, I could have gone down to a country area and worked my way up to the north. So in the morning, that job then got cancelled and reappeared. So I decided to put a bid on of £80, which would have been my absolute lowest. Gave it 10 minutes as I made my way out of Lincoln, and by the time I got sort of 10 minutes into my journey and it still hadn't sold, I thought, that's it, I'm going to cancel that now. So that opportunity had gone. There were a couple of other jobs that I did bid on, and I put a note on saying that I would be looking to do it with the co-load, well, with the load on my van. So I'd be doing their jobs directly, but I'd have a load already on board. And it just got a bit too complex because there was a job going from Gainsborough somewhere like Bolton or something. I would have had to go off my route to go to Gainsborough on the off chance that would have delayed me and more mileage. So because I didn't get that bid, I carried on going up towards Bradford. And then I decided, about 20 minutes in, I was no point looking for a co-load. Just get straight to Bradford, get this off, and then I can look for a job when I'm up there. So my ETA at this point was about 11:10. It was about a 2-hour journey to get to Bradford from Lincoln. So I called the shipper to tell them that I was on my way to the drop-off place. They gave me instructions, and I followed those instructions. So it was really simple in the end. So now I was in Bradford looking for a job, and actually no, on the way to Bradford I got a phone call. That was it. So probably about, let me think, probably about 10:30, 20 past 10 time, I had a phone call, and it was somebody offering me a job. And it was the same job that I did 2 days ago, which was the the multi collections from Grimsby, Scunthorpe, up in Leeds. So I accepted that job. They offered me £115, 115, which was the same as I got last time. But I asked for 120 because I worked out that it takes me 4 hours to do that job. I think 120 is a fairer price to do 4 hours work, and they gave it to me straight away for 120. So I get the impression there's more margin in it than even that. But I'm happy with 120 for that job. So I now had a situation where I was on my way to Bradford. I was going to be tipping about 11:10. I had to make my way to Grimsby by 2 o'clock-ish. So I was looking for jobs to take me from Bradford Leeds east. There really wasn't anything. And by the time I got unloaded, it's more like 25 past, 11:30. And I worked out, well, I wanted to look at how long would it take me just to drive to Grimsby. It was a good hour and a half. So if I just left there and then and driven straight to Grimsby from Bradford, I would have been there at 1 o'clock. And so I had a bit of time to play with. I had about an hour to play with. So I had to look at jobs, stayed where I was for a few minutes, looking for jobs. And I've been on a couple of things. There was one job that was going from Dowsby, I think it was, to Hull. But it was about half an hour from where I was to pick up. And then to get to Hull, I'd have to go probably another half an hour or so to get to Grimsby. And I just don't think I had time to do it. I think from my Liverpool trip yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. When I did my Liverpool trip and then ended up running out of time, I just worked out that today, if I tried to get a job in, it's probably going to not work out. So I reluctantly decided to just leave looking for a job, just dead mile it straight from Bradford to Grimsby. And by the time I did a bit of leisurely drive. By the time I got there, it was 5 to 2. I had a stop for a wee, I think, on the way. So I was basically dead on time for my job. And I did the same job that I did on Monday. But this time, I knew exactly where to pick up. I knew exactly what I was doing at every point, where to park, where to get the stuff from, and where the next place to go was, where to drive to. So the actual job took me less time. And it was only because of the traffic in Leeds at the end that I didn't make it before 5. I got to the depot about 5 to 5 and got unloaded by about 5 past 5. So it was almost an hour less time than I did on Monday, just because I knew exactly where to go, what to expect. I even remember some people's names that I spoke to, and when I was doing it. So that was a much quicker, much more efficient job today. And then I had an opportunity to try and find some more work from Leeds. The problem I had though was it was 5 past 5, and I didn't know. I told you the amounts today. So the amount that the first job, I got £100 for it for 70 miles. The second job was £120. So I was only on £220. That was the end of the day. So I really needed some more work. I couldn't just mile it home at this point. And there was a reasonable trickle of work coming through. I hadn't booked anything for the following day from my home address, so I wasn't tied to going home. And I was able to tramp out if I wanted to. So I put a bid on a couple of things. And then a job came up from Sowerby Bridge, which was only about 16 miles from where I was, but the actual Google Maps was an hour's journey. And the time that they wanted to pick up done by was 5:40. So I couldn't make it in time. It was 5 past, well, it's probably about 5:15 at this point. But I put a bid on, and I put my ETA of 50 minutes, which wasn't that time. And I thought, I must put a bid on because maybe I'm the only one who can do this job. And the reason why I did a bid was because it's going to London, and not everyone, including myself, likes going to London. But my plan was to put a reasonably good bid on. If I got it, get down to London, deliver, and then just deadline it home. It would be a long day, but it would be a profitable day. So it was for a small van. Oh no, actually no, that's not true. It was for a short wheelbase van on the CX. The number of miles was 205 miles. I bid £200. And I got that job, and I got a phone call saying, can you give us a realistic estimate for how long you get to the pickup point? Because they're closing quite soon. So I told them it'd be 6:15. That's a realistic estimate. And they said, I'll call you back and I have to check with the company if it's still open. So I'd wait. So rather than me waiting there, I just got straight on to the journey. I got the full postcode. I got in there, and I got about 5 minutes into my postcode, into the journey, and I was stuck in congestion. But at least I was 5 minutes on when they called me back to say the job was on. So I thought it was really good news. I was really pleased about that. I did ask. They did ask me to give them a half an hour update on my getting to the pickup place, which I did do, and I managed to get there with 5 minutes to spare from the time I said. So I got a ride at 6:10, but the traffic was horrendous. So many red lines on the Google Maps. Basically, the only reason I made it on time was because there was a junction on one of the motorways. I'm sorry, I don't know which one. I think it was the M621. And there was a junction I was coming off at, and they were queuing to come off that junction. Must have been about 3 miles back. And I just stayed in the second lane, trundled down till just before the exit, and then found a gap and moved into that line of traffic. By doing that, I gained 5 minutes, according to Google Maps. But if I got in at the end, it would have been a lot longer, I think. So I got to the place in time. The shutters were all down, but there were lights on. So I tried knocking and ringing the bell on the goods in. There's no response. I went to the front door, rang both the bells, and then someone came to the door. They handed me this package and no paperwork. So I was really grateful that I was given the package. I was confused as to why was this thing that I had so important. It had to go down today. But it's not my reason to question it. So I put it in the van, took a photo, stuck it on the CX. I managed to get the guys. There was 2 guys there who gave me the thing to sign a blank pod because they wanted to go home, and I said I'd fill out the address and everything when I had some time. So they filled out, they signed for the collection of it for me, and then I made my way towards London, which at this point was 4 hours and 10 minutes, or 15 minutes or so away. Then about 3 or 4 minutes in, I got a call from the shipper saying, "Is that all that I've got?" And I thought, "Oh dear, something's going wrong here." So I explained that what was in the photo was the only thing I was given. And he said I'd have to ring you back and just check with my customer. So I moved off and I drove for about another 2 minutes, so I was off the main traffic, pulled over and waited, and let it lay by. I wasn't so busy. And then I got a call back about 3 minutes later, and he said, "It's right. That's what you got the right thing. You can carry on going down." So that was really good. And so I put in sat down for the address, and it was at that point 4 hours and about 10 minutes. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm driving down the M1 towards London. My estimated time of arrival is going to be in the region of 10:30. Just double check that. Might have changed. I had a little bit of a break. No, it's 10:40 now. So I've said to the shipper, and he told the customer 11 o'clock is my expected time of arrival. And I've been given a number to call half an hour before I get there, and they are expecting me to be there, which is good. So all's well. I've got another 3.25 hours to go, and then my plan is to offload my parcel and then deadbolt it back home and get home as soon as I can. I'm estimating a couple of hours, maybe 2.5 hours, so it's probably going to be in the region of 1:30, 2 o'clock before I get back. I've not got anything booked for tomorrow morning, so I'll just have a bit of a lie-in and then try and have a late start tomorrow. But I'll give you some stats for today. So I've done that. So I've done this based on assuming I get back about 1 o'clock. Let's say 1:30. I'm make 1:30. And I've assumed mileage for I've assumed my mileage getting to London and then getting home without any detours. So it's going to be pretty accurate. So here we go. Drum roll, please. Today, when I finished, I would have worked for 17 and a half hours. I will have driven 655 miles, 655. I have filled up with fuel today. It was slightly cheaper again, which is good. I think the fuel price is very gradually coming down now, and so my average is 15.61 pence per mile now, which just makes a bit of a difference when you do that many miles. So today I will have spent £102.28 on fuel, and I will finish this job today, so I can include this job in today's figures. It will be just before midnight. So I will have earned today gross £420 before fuel, and that means my net earnings today after fuel is taken into account is £318.318. So I'm pleased about that. It will be a long day, but it's been, as I said, a good day. 3 CX jobs. One shipper called me. Actually, no. Actually, to be fair, that is a CX job. No, the second job I was called about it from a shipper I did work on Monday. So actually, it's not really a CX job, is it? I was just called and given it. So one non-CX job from a shipper that maybe I can do more work with in the future. I think I can. I'd like to. And then 2 CX jobs. And I want to give you, for the 3 days that I've worked so far, I've averaged out my average earnings per day for those 3 days this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, after fuel's taken into account. My average amount earned is £262 each day. So I am over target for the week as well as for today. That's really good news. So tomorrow will be quite critical. Depends on how late I lie in as to whether I get a decent job or not, whether I make my target. I'm going to make an assumption. I might need to tramp out tomorrow night and therefore have like a 2-day sort of outing and see if I can make my target that way. But so far, so good. Right, I have written down something that I'm grateful for today. And I don't want it to sound like I'm being big-headed because it's not the point of it. I was genuinely feeling today thankful for this thing happening. Recently I've had 2, like as in today and yesterday. I had 2 feedbacks, positive feedbacks that had some commentary with them. And I'm really grateful when a shipper goes to the effort of putting some extra wording in. I'm not going to read out the wording because it will sound like I'm being big-headed. But it was very complimentary, I'll put it that way. And I've had another feedback with no wording, which was positive. So I had 3 feedbacks this week. Positive feedbacks. I haven't checked my numbers, but I'm sure I'm doing okay now in terms of feedback. I was trying to, when I first started doing this job, I was thinking my feedback would be really important, and it is kind of important. And I don't want to get any negatives, but I'm finding work reasonably consistently without necessarily having like hundreds of positive feedbacks. So I will double check today how many I've got in the last 90 days. It's going to be in the region of 40, I reckon. I'm going to guess. But I'm thankful for the shippers that give me positive feedback and those that add the words in even more so. Excuse me. I was thinking if there's anything I've learned today that I want to share with you. The last few weeks, I've been the things I've been learning have been kind of more along the lines of strategy and tactics that I can do differently to kind of give myself more chance of making money. And it's hard to really get that across to someone who's not doing the job. So I've tried my best to explain why I'm doing things differently. I think that I've mentioned this before, but I definitely think that part of my strategy needs to be to foster relationships with shippers. I'm not going to go for the end user route; it's just not my bag. But I think that having shippers that I kind of recognise, they recognise me, is really important. And I think the one I work for today, from Grimsby to Leeds, I think they're beginning to. There's a few people in the team. Every time I had to ring in every time I did a collection, so I think they're beginning to recognise my name now. So I think there's one shipper that would recognise me if I called in and said my first name. So that's the way to go. I was thinking to myself today, if I just did that once a week, if I made a contact with a shipper just once a week, after a couple of years doing this job, I'll have 100 contacts. I think that's the secret for me for this job to work through the CX, is to make lots and lots of trustworthy professional contacts, and then when I'm in an area, I'm able to call them and they know who I am, and we can work together. I think working together is kind of the key phrase I would say on that. I don't feel it's about me taking work off them or them donating work to me. It's about us working together to fulfill both of our needs. Right, I'm going to end it there. So thank you very much for listening to my video. I hope that you are successful, however you choose to define that word. And what are you grateful for today?